Well, George, welcome to the programme. Just about got over the jet lag from being in South Africa. Tell us a bit about what you were doing there.
Well, I went with World Vision to see the projects we work with in South Africa, and I spent a lot of my time in the townships around Johannesburg, in Soweto, in Kliptown, in Alexandra. These are some of the sort of poorer areas, poorer townships that you might not have seen when you were watching the Football World Cup. It has the title of the largest gap between the rich and the poor of anywhere in the world. It's just overtaken Brazil. A lot of South Africans still live today are in these real poor areas that I visited, and it really is quite remarkable to see that sort of poverty there still. There's
obviously millions of dollars being pumped into the football and the World Cup. Is that going to do any good for people who are not immediately connected with the World Cup?
Unfortunately, I didn't see any evidence of that. To the people in Soweto, to the people in these shanty towns, there really wasn't much trickle down for them. I mean, in these areas there's 80% unemployment. There are no jobs, and the jobs that some people have got are really only going to be temporary in nature. And after this big fanfare is over, I think a lot of those jobs will be lost, unfortunately. It's not all doom and gloom. There's a lot of national pride, and it's wonderful to see. Will it help them put money in their back pocket in the most poorest of the shanty towns? Probably not. But it was nice to have that occasion and that pride.
One of the nice things that I've noticed watching the coverage of the matches is as you look round and you listen to the vuvuzelas, but there are obviously people who are supporting England or New Zealand or whoever, but there's masses of obviously local people who are there blowing the trumpet and waving flags. They've really got into the whole thing.
And football is the sport of Africa. I mean, I've been lucky enough to travel all over Africa, and the one uniting factor you can say about Africa is their love of football. And you'll see it played on the beautiful new stadiums that have been built, and you'll see it played in the back streets. It bunched up socks. They'll use anything as footballs, and it's a great leveller. This is the wonderful thing about football is girls or boys can play it, rich or poor can play it, and it's a great game.
Let's talk a bit about some of the projects that you were involved in, that you were visiting there. So you were going to places like Soweto, and so what sort of things is World Vision doing there?
Well, in Soweto we have a sort of community centre for young people, and that was really great to see because a lot of these kids have unfortunately been orphaned by AIDS. So these kids' parents have all unfortunately, many of them have succumbed to AIDS, and they're actually being brought up by their grandparents. I spoke to many women in their 70s who were bringing up 6, 7 children on their own on a pension, and it really didn't go very far at all. And these people are the real unsung heroes of Soweto, I felt. Stoically burying their children and bringing up another generation. And World Vision's there helping to sort of bridge the gap between nothing and something, which was really great to see, and really trying to get kids sponsored, really trying to get some help for these children who, without that, would really be in dire poverty. So, yeah.
Because so many of the towns as well I mean, as you mentioned, there's a big gap between the rich and the poor. Yes. But even within the townships, yes, there are huge differences between where one person lives and where another person lives. It's very marked, isn't it?
Absolutely, and Soweto surprised me, actually. I was really imagining it to be like Khayelitsha, which I visited several years ago when I went to Cape Town, which really is one of the biggest shanty towns in Africa. It really is grinding poverty, whereas Soweto, you would have pockets of really awful poverty, and you would have really quite nice houses, cheek by jowl, with shacks. And it's beautiful at the moment that the World Cup has made people think about Africa. You see great teams like Ghana really coming through, Cameroon, and it gives us an opportunity to maybe think about some of those other African nations. I mean, one particular country I'm really interested in at the moment is Niger. You may have remembered about 5 years ago there was a really awful famine. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, this year it's back, and the figures are twice as worse. And it really is quite moving. And we have a stat that 20 children die in Niger in the time it takes to watch a football match. And so it really gives World Vision an opportunity to talk to people and say, hey, what's happening in South Africa is great. Let's look at the rest of Africa as well and shine a spotlight on that continent, not just that country.
So are you confident for the future of Africa?
look, I think Africans are some of the most amazing people on earth, and I think they will continue to do well. But I think it really does come back to New Zealanders to lend a hand and to always kind of be mindful, you know, not just to turn away as soon as the media glare goes to the next place, you know, to really, you know, keep it in their hearts, their prayers, their minds, and support Africans. And I think a really beautiful way of doing that is maybe sponsoring a child, you know, getting involved with World Vision, looking at our website, and just, you know, just knowing a bit more about the country and getting the sort of love that I have for Africa as well.
Great. Well, George, thank you very much for sharing that love with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.